Hi there, this is Claire Jarvis at Restore Fitness Therapies, and in this video I'd just like to walk you through the core engagement technique. Now I'm going to be combining my lateral breathing with my core engagement, so if you haven't already watched the lateral breathing video, then I definitely recommend you go and watch that one first, otherwise you might find this one a little bit confusing. But if you're all good to go with your lateral breathing, let's have a look at core engagement. So when we talk about core engagement, there are two particular areas of the body that we're thinking about. The first one is the muscles around the belly button area, and I'm being non-technical here just to make sure that everybody understands what I'm talking about. So you're thinking of your belly button here, you're thinking of the muscles. Often people think of the six-pack muscles at the front of the body, but obviously we have layers of deeper muscles that we're trying to engage. But basically we're thinking of the muscles at the front of the body. The second area we want to think about is our pelvic floor. Now these are the muscles which form the bottom of your body. You'll use them to control your bladder, to control your bowels, and if you need to sort of control going to the toilet, if you give those muscles a little squeeze, those are the ones you're using. So they run like a big X shape of muscle from your one sort of hip bone to the other, just again to be non-technical, and then they're also going from the pubic bone to the tailbone, so from back to front. So you end up with this big sort of strong X band of muscle that is not only controlling those organs at the bottom part of the body, but actually just providing the base to hold everything else inside us, okay? So when we talk about core engagement, we need to be thinking of these muscles really at the front of our body and also the muscles at the base of our body, okay? So I would recommend to practice this that you either sit upright like I'm doing now, just on a chair. I'm sitting on our therapy couch. You could stand up, or if you're a beginner you might find it useful to maybe lie down on your back and make sure that your spine is in a neutral position. But whatever position you're in, always remember to set up your posture first. That means your shoulders are back and down in the body. You've got a nice lengthened body position here, and if you're standing up, obviously just settle those feet at hip distance. If you're sitting, just make sure your feet are planted firmly on the ground and your knees and your ankles are hip distance apart. So always think great posture. That's the foundation. You also want your spine to be in a neutral position when you're practicing this, and you want to maintain that neutral position throughout the exercise. So this is really key. If you find that you're moving your spine, you're not actually going to be engaging your core correctly. You want to be in a stable position. So again, whether you're seated, you're standing, or you're lying down on your back, just check that you're in a neutral spine position, okay? So our hands can just rest anywhere for this. You might like to just put them on the front of the abdomen if you're new, just so that you can get a feel of what's happening here. But as you're breathing out through the mouth, I want you to imagine a belt around your waist that someone has tightened just a little bit too tight for you, just about 30% too tight. So just think one notch on that belt. So as you breathe out through the mouth, just imagine that belt being just very gently tightened, and it just makes you squeeze the belly button in very gently. And then when you breathe back in through the nose, imagine you've just undone that belt, and you can just relax that area of your body. So every time you breathe out through the mouth, just visualize that belt being tightened ever so slightly. And then when you breathe in, just visualize undoing that belt. And you're just going to lose the tiniest little bit off your waist as you do this. This shouldn't be tight and clenching hard. This is really gentle core engagement here, okay? So that's the area at the front of the stomach. Same with the pelvic floor muscles. So you can imagine in this situation that you just need to control yourself going to the bathroom. You need to stop yourself going for a wee, let's say, okay? So as you're breathing out through the mouth and you're drawing that belly button gently inwards, I just want you to imagine that you need to stop yourself going for a wee, and you also need to stop yourself going at the other end as well. So you're just going to clench again very gently, just about 30% of what you can manage. And then when you're ready to breathe back in, you're going to let those muscles relax again. And all we need to do now is do those two things at the same time. So we breathe in through the nose, like we do laterally. And then as you breathe out through the mouth, you're just going to draw that belly button in, lift those pelvic floor muscles just gently, about 30%. Then when you need to breathe back in through the nose, you're going to start relaxing those core muscles. So every time you're breathing out through the mouth, you're engaging your core. Belly button in a little way, pelvic floor up a little way. And then when you want to breathe back in through the nose, you're just relaxing those muscles, okay? So it's actually really simple, but it can take a little bit of practice, and if you come from a yoga background, this will be the opposite to what you've already learned. So don't worry if this feels quite confusing to you. I always say to my clients, I think that getting the lateral breathing and the core engagement and combining them is probably one of the most difficult things in Pilates, but then once you've nailed it, all your exercises are going to feel going to make a lot more sense to you and come a lot easier. So it's really worth spending the time practicing this. Again, you could be sitting in your car, at your desk, practicing this. You don't have to breathe out loud, but you can just practice your core engagement, practice breathing laterally, and it will really make all your exercises so much better. Okay, so I hope that's been useful to you, and do leave me your comments below, and I will see you in class very soon. Take care until then.